big challenge that we have in the city of Toronto, being an older city, is dealing with the aging infrastructure issue. And you heard about full cost pricing. You have to raise your water prices in order to generate enough money. But you also need to reinvest in your system and put in place the new innovation, because we were running an old system in our treatment plants, pretty much in our districts, even older. We always had in place a pay-as-you-go model. Our council did not want to borrow any money against the water, wastewater assets. So how do you convince them that you need to raise rates, keep a pay-as-you-go model, so no debt, you have to keep a little bit in reserve, and fund a significant increase in capital needs? Well, we embarked on a program in late 2005 where we told council you need to raise water rates 9% a year for 9 years in a row. And that'll get us at least on our way to dealing with the infrastructure challenges, not dealing with all of our long-term pressures, but dealing with the day-to-day issues. Well, you can get a yes from council for maybe 1 or 2 years, but if you don't show the payback to the resident, you will lose that support. And the only way you maintain that support over a 9-for-9 program, as we did, is you had to show and give feedback to the community that you're putting the money in the right places. And that was the capital. That was the key. And using technology, using innovation in our operations helped us keep our costs relatively low. It was just a slight increase over that 10-year period, as compared to tripling our capital program.
So we're working very closely right now with Ontario's food and beverage processing sector. Very closely in terms of working with the Ontario government, economic development, as well as ag and food. And the one comment there would be, obviously that sector is a large user of water. It's vital to the success of their business. People don't realize it's a $39 billion sector in Ontario. It's critically important to Ontario's economy. Roughly 125,000 employees, 3,000 establishments. The connection back to municipalities is about 70% of that sector relies upon municipality for their water supply and for their wastewater treatment. The food and beverage sector is now getting hit with rising costs for their water supply, rising costs to manage their wastewater, expanded contaminants and surcharges, surcharge agreements. So now it becomes, how do you strike that balance between municipalities who are trying to provide affordable services to their base of customers, which includes residential, industrial, and commercial, like food and bev, but also how do you maintain the balance between helping that sector maintain its competitiveness so that they can continue to invest in their business, to grow their business, to contribute to local economic development, to retain jobs, to provide corporate taxation revenue to municipalities. All these things have to become part of what we would call innovation. How do we actually drive adoption of sustainable water solutions across the sector? And since municipalities are a key impacted stakeholder, how can they contribute to helping the sector actually adopt innovative, sustainable water solutions within their operations? If we can educate, for example, the food and beverage sector that innovation solutions are economically viable and make sense, that creates market demand, and they become reference customers for our innovators, who can then in turn use them to make their operations more effective, who in turn they can use as customers to sell globally.
With the focus on payback, it seems to me, from what I've seen, is that the payback calculations generally look at your current operating and maintenance costs in terms of spending capital to do a project. But for some reason, and I could be wrong, but for some reason it seems that municipalities don't really recognize in that payback calculation the delaying of capital. In terms of converting that back at some sort of interest rate into a part of your payback, I don't know, but I suspect could be pretty significant.
If you listen to Erin this morning from York, she spoke a very real life case very recently where the municipality or York region decided to spend money down in the lower tier municipalities on their sewers in order to undersize to not have to build the kind of sewer our original calculations had told us we needed to build. And if you look at the plant at Duffin Creek, the flow has dropped just year on year on year. over the last several years, or since they went ahead and did that work. It just had a dramatic effect on the flow coming into the plant. So when you factor in their calculations for growth, so where the plant should get to in 2030, all the numbers are coming in well within where they're talking about, and the savings is in the range of $200 million.